Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. Ross here at Teacher Toolkit. Boy, have I got something exciting to show you this evening. Probably one of the best retrieval practice software pieces of kit that I think I've seen in a very long time, and I get to see lots of stuff in my life as Teacher Toolkit. In a moment, I'm going to introduce you to Conal Hughes, founder of Primary Quiz, who's a former head teacher here in England, and demo the software. And we're also going to give away a free license too. So if you're a primary teacher, it could be your lucky evening. But before I start, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever it is, if you could just go into your comments box and just say hello and let me know where you're watching from, then I can see that you're ready to pose some questions and things like that and interact with us as Conal and I do a kind of show and tell of Primary Quiz through the next hour with you. So let me just show you how it works. I will display a message like this with your name and question, and we'll answer them on your behalf. So if you're new to this, just quickly log in, add your comment. It'll display on my feed. Just let's do a little test. Tell me where you're watching from. I'm going to give you a town, village, or city, a shout out, or even country. I had someone watching from Nepal the other day, which was very exciting. So let's see. We've got Rachel. Thank you, Rachel, from Stafford. Thank you for joining me. Sal in Kent. Thank you for joining us. Who else? We've got Ella from Clitheroe, not too far from me. Bryony from Portsmouth. Come on, everybody. Last chance. Wazilla in London. Where else? Come on, keep them coming, everyone. Good. Sarah from Chesterfield. We've got Michelle in Kendal, Cumbria. Nice part of the world. Hull. Mrs. D from Hull. I do a lot of work in Hull. I love Hull. What a great place. And I was recently in Belfast. God, I could be here all night telling you about all the places I've been recently. So last chance to have your town a shout out before we get into the software, and I bring Conal in a moment. So we've got Kieran in Surrey, and then someone watching in Birmingham. So not yet anyone overseas. So let's see if we can see who can tune in from the furthest. But everyone else that's watching, thank you for joining in. It's really good to see you. So I'll come back to the comments in a moment. Let me just hide those for now. So I'm going to introduce to you Conal. Conal, good evening.
Hi, Ross. Good evening, everybody. Really pleased to be here. Thanks for that introduction.
Conal, let's start off with give us a summary of your teaching career in a minute. Tell us about your life.
So very, very briefly then, I've been involved really in primary education for 25 years. That has been my working career up to date. I have taught in various schools across Cheshire, Wirral and North Wales. Taught in every year group and had a great experience as deputy head, and then 10 or 11 years as a head teacher. And then felt the need to have a go at something different. So I put my thinking cap on, and here we are now talking about
let's give everyone a little
teaser
of Primary Quiz. So we won't go into the demo just yet. I'm going to keep everyone hanging on a little bit longer, but I want to unpick, Conal, how did this brilliant bit of software, how was it born? How did the kind of little nuggets of ideas start to evolve?
Yeah, so I think I would put that down to the last 2 or 3 years of headship. I think I would take it back to maybe the new Ofsted framework that came in that was really starting to bang the retrieval and progress drum for pupils. Mm-hmm. That also along the lines of cognitive science and what we've been finding out in recent years about how children learn best, and how it's really, really important for teachers to be thinking about embedding retrieval strategies into their lessons, because we all know that children everybody needs to practice something really frequently to remember it and come across curriculum content 2 or 3 times before it really sticks. So those were really that retrieval practice, and embedding retrieval strategies was one of the main things that we were working on, towards the end of my headship.
Right.
And we were trying to integrate that
together, and now we have Primary Quiz.
And here we are with Primary Quiz. Yeah,
so we're going to do a demo. So very, very soon, I promise everyone. But let me just give you some immediate benefits. I've been lucky enough to be playing around with Primary Quiz. Honestly, it's phenomenal. Firstly, I guess many years ago, before we had computers and bits of software in a classroom, we used to handwrite these quizzes and documents. At a click of a button, Primary Quiz regenerates a new quiz retrieval every single time. So there's thousands of daily opportunities for your pupil to practice skills, retrieve knowledge. Brilliant for building resilience, confidence. When we all take part in a quiz, our neurons come to life. So it's great for building a culture of fun, collaboration, inclusivity, and I guess from that workload perspective, it can save you hours. So the key link you need. So I've got on the screen here, everyone, my blog summary of Primary Quiz. But the key website you need is primaryquiz.org, the key web address. Now, without further ado, Conal, can I just get you you're already logged in. Can you just give us a little whistle-stop tour, and then we're going to, throughout the next half an hour, 40 minutes, we're going to unpick each subject, English, maths and science, Key Stage 1 and 2, and be prepared to be blown away, everyone. So let's start with a whistle-stop tour, Conal, for now, and then we'll take questions from people watching too. So over to you.
Okay, thanks very much, Ross. So essentially, Primary Quiz is an online resource which has loads and loads of whiteboard activities which you can use with your children as a teaching support to embed retrieval strategies. There's loads of different activities on the site. I think it's so if we just take a little dip into each subject at a time. So straight into English at year 6. So we've organised the English across grammar, punctuation, and spelling. So we can choose. I'm just going to give you a quick example here of a spelling activity. So we can zoom down. For example, let's just show you a prefix wall. So I know that teachers can be scrabbling around for resources such as these. So with this one, you can just choose the prefix that you want on the screen, and it will just populate a wall of root words for you. And children can work independently or in pairs or in groups to try to match the prefixes up with the root words from the grid. Once you're happy that they've had enough time to do that, you can just reveal the answers and it will organize the words for you. So moving really quickly just through one or two activities. If I just dip briefly into maths now, we've got a range of loads of different maths activities. Some designed to support pupil fluency, some to help you with problem solving. Others are just games and investigations to engage and enthuse pupils. But for example, I can just scroll down to the multiplication and division section and generate any number of multiplication fluency walls just to give my children some fluency practice, perhaps each morning when they come in or at the beginning of a math lesson. We can actually look at the individual tables as well if we just want to practice them in isolation. I would say a couple of key things really. The resources regenerate every single time you use them, so you can just keep coming back for more. That allows you to do it on a daily basis. All the activities come with answers, so we can reveal them one at a time or drop them all in. And very, very briefly, if I've got time, Ross, just to have a quick look at the science. So we can drop into year 3, for example. There's a range of activities to support units across the national curriculum. I can bring up a vocabulary wall, for example, and just generate a wall of words for the children, and we can take them, cycle them through a list of definitions, and the children are just required to match the definitions up with the wall.
Thanks,
so very quickly, I've managed in about a minute, I think, to show you.
That could be a new record for you. I'm actually going to shout out Palessa watching from South Africa, so we might get a new user in South Africa for you, Conal, by the end of this evening. So everyone, pose your questions in the chat box. We're going to go through different subjects, different key stages right now, and then you can start to ask your specific questions. So the question I've got for you, Conal, if we look at maybe English Key Stage 1 to begin with, you might want to switch to maybe year 6 English Key Stage 2, but can you share how Primary Quiz might build in resilience and confidence for, can we do an English Key Stage 1 demonstration?
Yeah, of course we can. So if I just drop into English, we go into year 2. So I think in terms of what you're asking there about confidence and resilience, I think children, to become more resilient, to build pupil resilience, I think we need to obviously challenge them in their work and make them more accustomed to these challenging environments and provide them with the strategies to deal with them. So in an academic sense, we can build pupil resilience by showing them, by increasing the difficulty of the tasks. There are loads of activities on this site which will enable teachers to do that. I'm just going to show you, again, we've got English in Key Stage 1, organising, grammar, punctuation and spelling. I've dropped into Year 2 here. I'm just going to have a quick look at punctuation, and we could choose a kind of punctuation focus if we like. So I can just click on simple sentences as an example, and this will bring up a little punctuation quiz for us. Just seems to be a little bit slow tonight. Not sure why that is.
It's the end of the day. It's thinking.
Yeah, there we go. So essentially here, I've chosen, this one is presented in the form of a multiple choice quiz. So we can present children with, we start our new quiz. All we're doing here is 10 questions, and for each question, the children are going to get 3 versions of the same sentence. And
so can I just interject, Conal? Literally a click of a button, these are generated for the teacher.
Yeah, and they're randomly regenerated. You'll get a
every
different
time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay. So essentially, we can take children through 10 questions. All they need for this is, a piece of paper and a pencil. All they have to do is write down A, B, or C, and you can take them all the way through the quiz. Yeah. And then once you've gone through your 10 questions, you go right back to the beginning, and then you can have a lengthier discussion with your pupils about which one is the correct answer and why. So that's just one way of practicing punctuation with your pupils.
And then did you show the reveal button there? I might have missed that.
Yeah, so let me just go back into that. So obviously all the activities I said before come with answers. So here we now have a different quiz. So we can reveal the answer and move on to the next one.
Fantastic. So we've got Bryony here in the comments saying it's brilliant. I totally agree. The number of hours it saved teachers. Just, I guess from a technical perspective, there's no chance. I mean, I'm sure there's the odd question that's repeated in the future, perhaps, but is it every time it's unique?
So it's actually designed, the quizzes themselves are just drawing from databases, as you would expect. So you will see from time to time a level of repetition, but I actually think that's a strength, because children like familiarity. And if we're talking about building confidence, building familiarity,
or retrieval, you need to see things time and time again.
Yeah, they're going to see sort of structures and frames and resources that they become familiar with.
But there's plenty of stuff in there to keep everyone busy, isn't there? Easily.
Yeah. Oh, indeed, absolutely.
So can I then push you? So if we are building confidence now, could we go into Year 3 and go into the same unit, maybe punctuation, and kind of see how that confidence might be nurtured through a similar type of quiz, but at a higher level?
So you can see that we've got consistency really in terms of how the activities present across the site. So if we go back down to punctuation now, we've got a broader selection of Year 3 punctuation. So I can choose apostrophes, and we can now generate a quiz using all the sentences are going to have apostrophes in there somewhere, so we're able to test children's understanding of apostrophes. Again, we can just cycle through the questions and reveal the answer. It's up to teachers how they use this resource in the classroom, but really it's just a stimulus for you to set up you can set it up as a class quiz, have the children in teams of 3 or 4, and they can work them out together. So you're promoting lots of nice sort of discussion and collaboration as well. If you want to do something slightly differently with punctuation, we can focus on apostrophes, but give the children a different quiz. And this would lend itself really well to an independent task. So again, you've got that versatility coming in. We can just put up 6 sentences, and children can actually have practice at writing down the sentences with all the correct punctuation. There's no punctuation at all there, but because we've chosen apostrophes, there are going to be apostrophes involved somewhere in the sentence. So there's two really nice ways there of actually practicing year group specific punctuation with the children that you're teaching.
Now, I suspect you get this question asked a lot, Conal. Bryony here in the comments on the screen. Is there a secondary version in the pipeline?
We haven't. We are having lots of discussions about how to develop this resource. I mean, Primary Quiz is actually a really brand new resource. We only launched about 3 months ago. So, but already we're having conversations about how to, phase 2 of how we can move this forward. Certainly, a secondary version has never been ruled out. Absolutely. My particular expertise, obviously, is in the primary sector. But yeah, a secondary version would be really exciting to start thinking about.
So great question, Bryony. Thank you very much for posing us. Everyone else watching live, get your questions in. We're going to take it to a deeper level. So, Conal, can we switch to maths next? And the question that I've got for you this time is, it's definitely, I've seen it for a while now. It's definitely comprehensive. How does help? What does it look like? What does it look like for year 6? So let's just talk about the topic of SATs, for example. What does it look like at the high level end of the software?
Not sure for the reason for the hesitancy tonight, but
so keep your questions coming in, everybody.
There
we go.
So essentially, if we jump straight, I think the most useful thing for SATs, I mean, obviously, from what I've already said, you can expect, just reams of fluency practice, so we can just practice addition and isolation or subtraction. But I think that a really brilliant thing, which I think has got to be useful, certainly in my year 6 days, I would have loved to have had this. We can actually, I've put 4 activities on the year 5 and 6 math pages called Arithmetic Busters, and really, they are designed to absolutely nail arithmetic at the top end of Key Stage 2. So this is just the example of the addition one. And we've put this together by really undertaking a thorough analysis of the arithmetic papers at the end of Key Stage 2 to make sure we've captured every single question type and reflected it somewhere in this screen. And we've done it. So this screen here, if you put this up, I don't know, once a week for your year 6, maybe even your year 5 pupils to practice in the run up to SATs or throughout the whole year. Obviously, they would become really fantastic at their arithmetic. They would recognise every question type. They would have loads and loads of practice. And of course, the questions like these, actually, if teachers were to sit down and work the answers out themselves, it would probably take.
So could you press the reveal button? Because I'm just testing myself on question 11, and I want to see if I'm right.
Right. Okay. So we're going to go through, and we're going to go through all the answers there. So it really takes the heat out of it for teachers. What do you think it is, Ross?
Oh gosh, now you're putting me on the spot. It's a bit like Nick Gibb being asked the maths.
Go on, let's go for it.
On the TV, isn't it?
There we go. And then if you want them again, you can
look at that. It's just fantastic.
So there's one of those. There's one for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So every question type is reflected in those. Shall I just put one more up for you to see?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, one
so
more.
We'll do a where's our we'll do multiplication one.
So people watching, give me questions in the chat box wherever you're watching, whatever platform. I'll display your questions on the screen. I'll ask them on
We're really struggling tonight with the speed, I'm afraid, but let's just
So while you're doing that, Conal, I mean, we'll wait for 1 or 2 things to pop over, but I'm going to just put my blog also on the screen here while you just flick over to a channel. This is a blog post everyone have written, just kind of unpicking the things that Conal do. But can I just highlight that if you sign up for a free trial tonight on Primary Quiz, Conal's going to choose a teacher as a winner to have a school license. So how about that? So the deadline does say tomorrow, but I think we're happy to maybe extend it to people watching this after the recording. Maybe Monday, kind of midday, we might close, and then we'll select someone and let you know through, particularly if you've signed up through the Eventbrite ticket. So get signed up as quick as you can. Have a look at all these benefits. There's lots of video demonstrations in there. And I'll put your screen back up on here now, Conal, if you want to show that. But yeah, sign up for the free trial, everyone. Be in it to win it. We've got a question here from Bryony again. Bryony, thank you for all your questions. Can you print the material from the sites, Conal?
At the moment, the answer to that, I'm afraid, is no. But I think what I would say to that is the purpose of this is to reduce the amount of printing. It's to save to remove all the issues of having to kind of print out individual worksheets for pupils, have teachers queuing up at the photocopy. So I think there is an advantage to that. That said, we are very aware of, it's something that we do get asked, and it will become something in the very near future that teachers are able to do. What I would also say to that is I'm frequently putting things out on things like Twitter and Facebook of actual sort of worksheet versions of some of these activities. So if you keep a close eye on those, you'll come across the sorts of things that you probably
the original intention was to get it on the screen on the teacher's whiteboard, and that kind of automatic generation as a classroom resource. I guess the ability to, although that's good for sustainability and reducing that footprint, I guess the option to print one or two things might be helpful. So thank you, Bryony, for your question.
I also think what I would say there is teachers are finding really creative ways to use this. I mean, one teacher's come back to me and say actually they work really closely with their teaching assistant, who actually uses a primary quiz to now deliver booster and intervention work. Every classroom is going to have children working at different levels of ability. So if you've got a child or a group of children that are working at a much lower ability, or indeed a much higher ability than other children in your class, then actually you could just have primary quiz on an iPad or a couple of iPads for those children to use.
I'm going to remind
lots of ways you can use primary quiz without necessarily the need to actually print off the activities, I would suggest.
Thanks, Conal. I just want to remind everybody watching, so thank you really. I'm going to read one or two comments out because I've not displayed them all yet, but primary quiz is brand new. Conal, can you remind everybody, for people not familiar, when did primary quiz launch?
We launched at the beginning of March, so we've literally been going, what's that, March?
We're talking 2 or 3 months here, everybody. So over time, printing functions, I can see that Sal here in the comments has talked about different color fonts and things like that. So I know that these things that Conal will take seriously and look to develop the software a bit further, so it's truly inclusive for all pupils. I think Daniel's also mentioned here a kind of play feature where students can get rewards, so it might connect with your management system software. There might be a pupil database inside primary quiz. So I'm absolutely confident Conal will get those things sorted, but just 2 months. Now, a ballpark figure, Conal, how many quizzes do you think are in the system, or is it infinite?
I mean, it's very difficult to put a number on that. It is. You could almost say it's infinite, because you're going to get a different activity every time you click on your quiz.
Right, let's do another demo. So can we go pop back to English and think about speaking and listening skills? How could, and I'll let you choose the year group, how could the quizzes develop students' communication skills? What would you recommend a teacher?
Yeah, well, I think in terms of communication, if I reflect on my own experience as a class teacher, then I recall kind of two types of learner, really. I think you've always got children in the class that can give you the answer to a question. So what I'm trying to do using the primary quiz format is enable those children to be invited to kind of explain in more detail or elaborate, or skilled teachers will draw thinking out of their children by throwing questions back to them. So they can start saying to them, why do you think that? Why do you think that the reason for that? I'll tell you what I'll do, Ross, if I may, is actually just going to dip into maths and just show you that working, because one of the nice ways I think we can promote speaking and listening on this site is through there's a really wide range of kind of problems and investigations and puzzles. Every activity on this site is designed to stimulate conversation and discussion.
Right.
So I think because we're streaming, I think it's struggling just to behave tonight.
So while that's loading, let me ask you some extra questions. How many teachers or schools you got using it after 2 months?
So we've already got, or I'd say we're in the hundreds in terms of teachers using it up and down the country. The number of schools that have used it, either that are either trialing the resource or have actually bought the resource. We're in excess of 150.
Right, incredible. Okay, so we're into adding and subtraction. What year group are we in here? Year 6?
So, well, this puzzle is actually available across a range of year groups, but it's organised across a range of levels, so teachers can actually choose the most appropriate level for their children. But in terms of going back to what we were saying about speaking and listening, every activity on the site is designed to have to generate discussion, as I've said. And I think you will have children in your class who are very good at giving the right answer to a question. But the teacher will want to try to develop their speaking and listening skills by saying, well, explain your thinking there. Tell me why you've gone down that route. Tell me what you were thinking. By the same token, we've also got children who are quieter, a little bit more reluctant to get involved in class discussion. And the reason I think that lack of confidence is perhaps because they might be unfamiliar with the task, or they don't want to say something and look a bit silly in front of their classmates. So I think where primary quiz can really be helpful to both groups of children is, for those quiet children, they want to see examples of things. They want to see modelled examples. The teacher can say, well, let's do one together, and then perhaps you can have a go at the next one. And I think it will be that familiarity that the teacher sees, that the child, that the child can see. They can see the process being modelled, and they get lots and lots of familiarity and confidence from seeing it done. And that will encourage them to have a go. By the same time,
how does this one work? Do you type in the digits?
So we have a look at this puzzle here. So we're trying to put the numbers 1 to 9 in all the white boxes, and the 4 white boxes have got to add together to make the total in the yellow star. So we've gone for normal level here. So we know that 9 plus 7 is 16. So we're asking the children, okay, where would you go in this grid? What would you be thinking? What would you be doing to try to solve this puzzle? So straight away, we've got that immersive conversation. You might have a child that says, well, I know that 6 plus 8 is 14. Okay, so we know that this centre box and the one below it need to make 7. So straight away, you can develop that conversation. Well, if we're looking for 2 numbers to make 7, what are our possibilities? And we have that nice, rich, deep conversation. So 6 and 1, 5 and 2, 4 and 3. So then, of course, it's about looking at which possibilities. It can't be 6 and 1.
Is this a beginner's one on the screen?
Say again, Ross.
What level is this one on the screen?
So this is normal. So we can do, we can take the children through, and again, we can build resilience by taking through the different levels of activity. So we know that these 2 here are 5 and 2 or 4 and 3, and then we would have to look elsewhere in the grid to try to work out which numbers go where. But 9 and 7 make 16. So what are the possibilities here? These 2 here have got to add to make 6. So again, it's either going to be 5 and 1 or 4 and 2. But what I'm demonstrating here, we can click on any of the numbers, by the way. I haven't got very far solving it, but when you do get, when you do work it out with your children, you can just click on the boxes to see if they were right. But hopefully what I'm trying to demonstrate is the depth of conversation that you can take them to, and the exploration of the different strategies. For your quieter learners, they will want to see that a few times first before they start developing the confidence to maybe join in. If normal's too hard, you give the beginner one.
Conal, can I just ask, have you got a display box with the digits on? Because we can't see that on the screen. Is that on a dialog box that we can't see?
What's that? Sorry. So
where are you selecting the numbers from in this case?
The numbers in the grid.
The kind of potential answers. Have you?
The answers you select is by clicking on the empty boxes themselves.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And again, you can come back to that. I know that there are schools and teachers that absolutely love that. This was a favourite activity of mine, actually, just to get the children problem solving.
Okay, let me ask people watching. So an opportunity for questions here. So in your comments, depending on the platform that you're watching, enter a comment. It'll come to me privately. Then I'll display relevant ones on the screen and pose them on your behalf. So I can see 1 or 2 coming in now. And again, if you're watching somewhere and you want me to shout out your town, village, city, or country, then I'm always happy to do that, because it's nice to see where people are watching from. Tell me about some of the challenges that you face with workload and designing retrieval practice quizzes. What are your thoughts with primary quiz on first impressions? A new software, just a couple of months old. I guess while we wait for your comments to come through, Conal, can we switch to a science example? And maybe let's go for the, can we see a year 1 example quiz?
So we can indeed. So it's obviously year one activities. We're thinking very carefully about how we can make these accessible for the pupils. I'll just show you a quick example here of common animals, so we can bring up pictures of common animals, and then children can try to recognise the animal. So there's a example there. We have for all units across all year groups, we have vocabulary walls, we have multiple choice quizzes. Let's just see, and we even have so for example, if we dip into humans, we can actually bring up a vocabulary wall, and it's a little bit more challenging with children, as you might not be appropriate at the start of year one, but as children become towards the end of year one, and we still want to work with them on developing their vocabulary, so things like this become very real and relevant. But lots of words in the grid there, and we would just show children a definition, and they would, we'd be working out with them where the words are in the grid. So those vocabulary walls go right the way through from year one to year 6 and link to every unit of work.
What other options do you have under, you showed us animals and plants. What are the other features?
So we're trying to cover the units of the national curriculum here, so we can got materials, animals, plants and humans.
Great. So any questions, anyone? Keep them coming. I can see I've got one question on behalf of a supply teacher, which I'll ask in a moment. We've got Daniel, who said nice, and I'd agree. It's nice little features. I think that's when you displayed the punctuation reveal wall. Can we pop to year 6 science, Conal? Just see the kind of incremental difficulty.
Yeah, absolutely. So
if you're watching, so Elizabeth just joined us, primaryquiz.org. Sign up for a free trial, Elizabeth. Conal and I are going to choose a teacher to get a free subscription for their school on Monday morning. So if you sign up, have a little play around. It's just a phenomenal piece of software. It's only 2 months old, already in 130, 150 schools. Conal? Yeah. So great bit of software. Let's look at year 6.
So we can choose from our year 6 areas of study here. Just go to classification. So for every unit of science, you have a vocabulary wall, a retrieval mat, a multiple choice quiz, and actually, just for fun, just as you become more accustomed with the vocabulary and the words, some anagrams actually. So you can actually just put that up. You wouldn't do that lesson 1, would you? But or you might. But after a couple of lessons of science, where children are starting to really get to know their vocabulary related to animal and plant classification, you may want to just put that up for a little bit of fun to see whether they can start recognizing some of the words. But if we just go to our vocabulary wall again, you've got one of these for every unit of science, and we can generate random vocabulary walls and put up our definitions just to keep teaching children about the scientific vocabulary which you would want them to come across. The retrieval mat, because we haven't looked at one of those yet, we can put this up. This is just going to fill out a grid of random color-coded questions with different levels of difficulty. You can introduce a slightly fun competitive element into your classroom and say, if you get all the answers to this grid on your screen correct, you'll score 20 points. Children can have a go in teams, in pairs, individually to see whether they can score more. And then we just click on each one for our answer. So we can generate as many as those as we wish. So you've got vocabulary walls, retrieval mats, multiple choice quizzes, and then the little anagram puzzles which I showed you before. We've got one of those for every year 6 unit.
It's just brilliant, and I love the simplicity and the complexity of it at the same time, and just that click of a button, generate, reveal, and so on and so forth. So everybody, questions. I'm going to put this one on the screen, Conal, from Ania about, we have to remember the supply teachers in our school system that support our schools and teachers, I guess, on a different kind of salary. Is there anything you can offer supply teachers? Is that something you've not yet built into the system?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. At the moment, we're just selling school subscriptions. We talk all the time about, being perhaps having a model where we're offering individual teacher subscriptions, or and that's where we'd be able to offer a supply teacher subscription. We're not there yet. Unfortunately, I haven't got a model that I can offer right now. But I think what I would say is this is a product in its very, very early days. If you are really, really interested and you're a supply teacher and you'd like to get hold of it, drop me an email, and we'll have a conversation and see what we can do, because we want to get the model right for teachers using it. And I think, as I say, individual subscriptions are something that we would consider if there was the.
Cool. So, Ania, if you're watching, Conal, CONAL at primaryquiz.org, that'll reach Conal. He'll sort you out.
Primaryquiz.com. Thanks, Ross. Primaryquiz.com.
Yeah, and then the link on the site there for me is my blog about the product. But we'll put all these links in a moment as we wrap things up. So we've still got a good 10 or 15 minutes, an opportunity everyone to ask some questions. So let me remind you, if you're watching on a particular platform, you should have a comment box to leave any comments live. I can pose them to Conal on your behalf. I guess before we wrap things up, Conal, can you tell us how it's built to align with the English syllabus? So how does it kind of complement existing curriculum, and how might it fit in with teachers' current schemes of work and lesson plans?
Yeah, so it is, as you can see from the slides, we have broadly mapped it to the English, to the national curriculum in England. We're not. I think it's really important to say this is not trying to be a scheme of work. It's there to complement anything that you are already using. Primary Quiz is designed to be a practice tool and a retrieval tool. So I think one of the benefits that I can see is it's very, very versatile. Teachers can use it. You can use it at 9 o'clock in the morning for activities on entry, or mental math starters, or 5 or 10 minute fillers in the afternoon. So it's there for you to use in a way that really works for you. You can probably, as we've looked at some of the activities this evening, you could build a whole lesson around Primary Quiz. You have your starter, your independent task, and your plenary, but it's not trying to be all those things. Really, the benefit is to help pupils with their learning. We know how children learn. Children learn by doing something for 5 or 10 minutes every single day, or revisiting something 2 or 3 times after they've learned it, so that you're interrupting that forgetting process, aren't you? And you're reminding children of the curriculum content. So I would say use it in a way that works for you. As I've mentioned earlier today, teachers are using it alongside teaching assistants. So it's there to support lower ability pupils, SEND pupils, because you've got all your fluency workouts to use during your booster groups. Use it to provide extension work for children in your lessons. We've all got children who just love harder and harder work all the time, and some of the maths activities on there would certainly be ideal to use for that. So it's just a really versatile tool that's designed to give you opportunities for your pupils to practice stuff, for you to build those retrieval strategies into your lessons, and just really reduce your own workload in the process.
Now I'm going to talk about the most important information I guess teachers and school leaders watching would want to know. How much does it cost? So what if I told you that for about £2 per day, your entire school community could get access to everything on this site? So if I just put Primary Quiz's pricing page up here, Conal, just talk us through the models you've currently got available, maybe what's to come, and if a school says I'm a tiny primary school or a large mat, kind of some of the things that you're doing.
So it's quite straightforward, really. So a 1 year whole school subscription would cost £395. A 3 year whole school subscription would cost £995. There are deals for multi-academy trusts. So we've been speaking to more than one multi-academy trust recently, and if we've said to them, if we bring all schools on board in one go, we can offer up to a 25% discount on the prices on your screen there. Similarly, there's room for a little bit of negotiation, and we've got, offered schools some good deals on those prices. But the main thing I would say here is my background is in education. I wasn't really born to sell, Ross. And we want this resource being used in classrooms up and down the country, really. So we're trying to keep it really competitive. And we think,
I say that's £2 per day. If you break down 395 by 190 school days, that's £2 for access for every child in your school and every member of staff. I've not seen, my life as an education blogger, doing this 15 years, I've not seen anything that provides better value than this. And I suspect as Primary Quiz gets super popular, and I'll remind you again, it's only a couple of months old, as Conal and his team develop this to a more sophisticated level and start to add in all the little bonus features such as printing and color coding fonts. As with all things technology and running a small business comes lots of costs. So I get in while you can on a bargain price would be my opinion. Conal, give us a sense of some of the things you're developing behind the scenes.
So at the moment we offer, as you can see, we're offering English, Maths and Science. We're currently developing some history resources, and we're hoping to have those up, in the autumn term. We're hoping to have some history up there. So we are busily working away on that. We're also working on some geography resources. So the next subjects which we're going to try and bring on board will be history and geography. So this is by a product which is going to continue to develop. What I would say is, all schools that have subscribed, all schools that have purchased, will just get any additional resources as they appear on the site. So there's not going to be any additional costs for new resources that come along. So
there you go. You heard it from Conal's mouth. You can play back this video and ask him to hold his promise. Right. So last call for questions, everybody. Anything we've not discussed? I think it's pretty clear the benefits. Year 1 to Year 6, English, Maths and Science, with geography and history in the pipeline. Free trial to sign up, have a look. I would encourage you to go and log in now. So let me, it's primaryquiz.org, so you can see, Conal, if you maybe just highlight your web browser and I'll put it on display here. So if you all sign up for a login, let me just type this up on the screen for everyone to see. I hope
so the website, Ross, is I'm just going to go back to
primaryquiz.org and then sign up for that free trial. And then show it to your teachers, show it to your school leaders, show it to your head teacher, tell them to get a little bit of cash saved aside and sign up for a free trial. And you never know, on Monday morning when we choose a winner, you're going to maybe get your subscription for free, so you could save yourself £395. And if you're interested, I've written a little blog about, I don't talk about everyone, there's lots of stuff out there. So I only work with people that I think will make a big difference to the teaching community. And it's great that Conal's a former school teacher and school leader himself. So he gets it. He understands the classroom. He's got 25 years of service. Hard won, hard fought, I'm sure. So there on the screen here, primary quiz. So teachertoolkit.co.uk/primary quiz. You'll come across my little review where I've highlighted 12 benefits. There's a little video demonstration in there and a reminder of that free trial. So tons of stuff. But the simplest thing, the simple message is log in for that free trial, have a play, and let us know what you think. So last call for some questions. Conal, any concluding thoughts?
I would say, we've got a 14-day free trial, so you can try this out for yourself. As Ross says, just head over to the website and fill in the form, or just send me an email. But just make sure you've got your name and your position, the school and school postcode. You can equally do that.
That's Conal primaryquiz.org, isn't it? I'll just put that on the screen for everybody. That one there, yeah, Conal.
Sorry, Ross, primaryquiz.com, Conal at
primaryquiz.com.
primaryquiz.com. Yeah.
Right, apologies.
That's okay.
And tell us about your social media channels. Where can people connect with you and follow what you're up to online?
So follow us on Twitter. We're just at Primary Quiz on Twitter. We've got a Facebook page. Those are the two main sources that we're using at the moment. And essentially, what we're using them for is just to put out sort of daily teasers and investigations and puzzles and worksheets and things that you can use with your pupils in class. So it's well worth just following us, just so that you have access to some of those.
I'd say they're just as beneficial for staff who need to brush up on their English, math, science myself.
Yeah, we already put quite a few nice investigations
Ella
out.
signed up for a free trial, so she's in it to win it. She's going to get her skill a free license. But even if you don't think your skill's going to sign up for something, because sometimes software might be out of our control, at least log in, have a play, 14 days, generate some quizzes, try it with your children. Really see the impact. Maybe even get your head teacher to pop into your classroom while you're playing with it, and you never know, they'll go, "Oh, what's that?" And the next thing you go, you've got your alpha license for all your teachers around the school. £2 a day for everybody, absolute bargain. So I know funding is tight for particularly people watching here in England, but if you're watching overseas as well, the software's truly international. So do sign up. Other than that, I think I'm going to wrap things up, Conal. So last chance, everybody. Last chance. Let us know if you've got any final questions. Other than that,
I just say also, Ross, if anybody wants to a follow-up conversation or a one-to-one meeting or what have you, just drop me an email and we can sort that out. I can give you a more detailed, look at the site or what have you. So that's also fine.
Brilliant. So there you go. Thank you for joining us, Conal. Thank you for your contributions to the profession and continued software development. It's very, very exciting to see a great bit of software. And I'm just going to reiterate to everybody that, I see this stuff a lot. And I think what Conal has developed here, I know primary teachers will love it. And that ability to click at a button and regenerate multiple quizzes and display these answers will reap loads of benefits. So I'd really strongly recommend everyone have a sign up, have a play. There's no other commitment other than that. And if you can drag your head teacher in the room while you play with it with your children tomorrow, you never know. So we're going to choose a winner by Monday. We might be in touch with you, but otherwise, Conal at primaryquiz.com. Get that one right this time. Primaryquiz.org to sign up for the trial. You've got my blog here on Teacher Toolkit as well, so you know where I am, which is why you're on this channel. So that's there if you want to read more. Other than that, Conal, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you for having me.
So bye, everyone. Thanks, Conal. I'll see you again soon. Other than that, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'll be back in the future to share a few more goodies with you. Otherwise, you can watch all this on the channel you're currently watching. The video's there, so play it back in the morning, share it with your colleagues, and I hope to see you again in the future. Bye for now.